And it's kind of come down to
Oh, frickin' muted.
kind of the thing kind of breaking down for him. You see that SMSU did try to go to A the first round, didn't really work out for him. Then they tried to go to B site, didn't work out for them. So it looks like now they're going to be trying to work some defaults or at least see where they can get some picks. And it's kind of working pretty well for them. Now that they've kind of split the map, you can see that SMSU's gotten one kill off that stage, and now they're kind of waiting to see who's going to pop out when Wookie gets taken out by Mr. Solio with the headshot. And it looks like they got most people on B now, kind of waiting to go for that push.
Wilmington not yet rotating, but their Phoenix starts to move. Their Omen does too. SMSU managed to pick up one. Doesn't get treated out yet.
Yeah, you can see he's kind of creeping in, and the ult out of nowhere. He was just too close, got point blank, and the bomb is down on his 3-3 situation.
A waffle for SMSU gets picked up, and now SMSU in a 2v2 situation. Damage on the killjoy for SMSU
Ooh,
and
out of
the Omen
nowhere.
for Wilmington. The nade comes out from Raze, and that's going to do a lot of damage to Piece of Bread. Now down to 2
wow.
HP. Has to try and defend this bomb site.
Yeah, and he was immediately picked off.
Peaches for... Well, Omen picks him up, and Peach is just going to stick the plant there.
Yeah.
Wilmington takes another round.
It was looking like it was going to be working out for him there. You saw they were going for more of a default, kind of splitting between both sides, seeing if they can get a pick on which side first. And it looked like it was going to be working for just a few moments, but as soon as the rest of the team began to make their way back there, and that Raze was holding down Elbow very well, it just kind of fell apart at that point, and they were able to kind of take that win and get the defuse. So now they're up 3 rounds. SMSU, you can see that they're starting to kind of shamble a little bit and kind of move a little bit toward B and a little bit toward A, kind of maybe going for the split, and they seem to have left the spike as well. So this is definitely just going for picks at this moment to see which plan works a little more.
Yeah, you know, SMSU... Oh, do get a
wow.
big pick! But they don't have bomb, and their other 3 teammates are with Spike over there. So it looks like SMSU probably going to rotate through, although they don't want to commit to a site just yet. They want to keep Wilmington wondering. And they get Wilmington's Omen to actually back off and rotate onto B site.
Yeah, so I think what the
possible
plan here might be to make some noise on one side and then go for the other side if they really want to.
SMSU needs to be decisive here. They are contending with a Sage while in mid-A.
Yeah, and once they take out that Phoenix, honestly, they have the whole site to plant. But you can see that UNCW is starting to make that rotation back.
And SMSU doesn't make the decision fast enough, and now Wilmington is going to rotate 2 more members over onto site.
Yeah, they were just not. They didn't have enough time. They were waiting and being a little too indecisive, and that's going to cost them valuable time to maybe go for that push.
Killjoy for SMSU is still over on B site, not with his team to help him. Is trying to lurk, but they're in a 2v4 situation. He needs to be on B site to help his teammate.
Yeah, and Dark Crystal's kind of lurking.
He
He
does
get a kill.
Cypher.
But now they have information about where he's going to be, so Dark Crystal's going to have to adapt and get out of the way. Maybe try going a different direction, because you can see the Phoenix is now starting to hunt him. And with 13 seconds left.
10 seconds here. He doesn't have time to get bomb.
Yeah, best bet is to just kind of hide and save. Hopefully keep that gun for later, and that's all he can really do.
Had a really great play there. Made Wilmington think, made him rotate over members, but the call didn't come out from whoever their shot caller is to push onto a site. They could have rotated both through teleporter back to A and had 5-man against that one Phoenix and forced Wilmington into a 4v5 retake, but they didn't execute properly.
I think it might have fell to just numbers game as well. They probably knew there was a Phoenix on site, but they didn't know if there was anyone else, if everyone was still at B, if there was people coming to A. So they were still a little indecisive in that part, and because of the missed shot calling there, they weren't able to take the opportunity to even try and push for that. And we just saw what happened there. And now they're going to try a different kind of scheme. You can see the Cypher kind of going up toward A, maybe kind of lurking a little bit while you have 3 posted in A and 2 posted in
Jaffa
B.
is pushing really hard on here. You can't afford to lose that Omen early in the round.
No.
They need their Phoenix to get onto site for them, flash onto site, and make some space and entry for them. Phoenix does get the flash, does get his ult, is going to push onto site, going to try and look. Flashes through smoke, pushes. Manages to pick up Cypher.
Him out.
But SMSU gets traded 2 back, and it's now a 2v4 situation.
And it was just a matter of not winning those gunfights. They were putting themselves into a very precarious situation, and you know the push from Wookie was good. You managed to get that Cypher and hold him down for a little bit, but it didn't seem like everyone else was as coordinated and were unable to kind of push with him at the same time, and that cost them big. Now all that's left is a Cypher, and he just had to come all the way back from point. They know where he's going to be.
And with 4 members of Wilmington on site, there's not much that Cypher can do here. He really just needs to really almost play eco at this point, try and lurk, maybe get a pick or two from Wilmington. That smoke is going to dissipate here soon, though, and Omen's going to see him. He does manage to pick him up, but he's up against an op.
Yeah, and at this point, if I was the Cypher right now, I'd try to run. You know, you get a pick off of, you know, one of the team, you start to back off, maybe run back a little bit, because you know they're still all there. I mean, going for that kill was good. You got a pick. You kind of messed their econ a little bit, but you also might want to save your own hide, too, at that point.
You also cannot re-peek against an op. That
no,
is
you
a
cannot.
number 1 rule of Valorant.
That is for sure.
If the op is there posted up on the angle, don't peek him with a Vandal. Don't peek him with a Phantom. It's not worth it. You will not win that fight.
Yeah, now they're kind of scrambling to see what they're doing. You take a look at the econ here, and UNCW has just good econ. You can see that the op has been bought, full shields, rifles for days. You can see that Mr. Solio is kind of hiding, and he gets the peek off a Dark Crystal.
Coming out by Phoenix. He's going to look to try and pick up a second one.
Oh, and he does.
Second one, and that is SMSU's smokes on their Omen down. Now SMSU with a Sova, Phoenix, and Cypher is going to try and do something, but it's a 3v5 situation, and you have to play. SMSU has to play off of their teammates. They have to peek off of contact, meaning one of them initiates the angle, backs off, and then another one of their members peeks from another angle. But it's so hard. And SMSU gets
and Mr. Solio
out from teleporter.
Piece of Red able to get a shot off on that with the kind of a late trade, but able to get the pick off of him. And it's a 4v2 situation. And at this point, you have to wonder, what are you supposed to do at this moment? I mean, maybe try and go back to A and maybe kind of scramble back. But
I think if you're SMSU in this situation, this is a light buy round for them. They had a couple sheriffs, a Spectre, and a Stinger. You really want to try and take that op off, but they get taken out by that Sage.
The op got him, and then he picked him off as well. And they are now 5 up here in this game.
Look at that economy for Wilmington.
Yeah.
9K on their Phoenix before he bought that round. And he still has 4.5K left. And 7,000 on their Sage and their Phrase.
Yeah, they have
6,000 on their Omen.
Very good economy management from UNCW, and that's just because they've been winning these rounds so dominantly. I mean, most of the time their numbers dwindle to maybe 3 almost every round if you know SMSU gets
apart the
some
map
good shots.
SMSU is. I really don't like them trying to peek that angle on B long. They know that Wilmington has all of that money. They could have even more than one op on their team if they wanted to.
Ooh, Jaffer was able to get the kill on Mr. Solio.
Phoenix is gonna try and push this onto site from bathroom. Has some site control, but Wilmington's gonna rotate over, and SMSU's not being decisive.
Oh, Wookie able to get the kill
on site, but needs the rest of his team there, and SMSU does manage to get onto site. Killjoy comes out for SMSU. That's gonna push back.
Good
Wilmington.
Good play there by Wookie. Able to kind of watch the CT and kind of wait for them to come out from heaven, and CT
Piece
able
of
to
Red
get a
doesn't
pick
need
off.
to peek here, doesn't need to push, but they do manage to get that Wilmington player, and SMSU gets the first round of this game.
It was a risky play from Wookie to kind of watch, especially at an angle like that where if he looked in that opposite direction from where the Sage was coming down, that would have screwed him up badly, but he was able to get the kill off, and he was able to cap another one in CT.
I think he knew, though, that Sage was up in heaven and that Killjoy ult was covering it. So Sage had to push out of there, otherwise she was going to get detained.
Yeah, which that's just good coordination from SMSU on that one. With the ult, you kind of have that space to kind of move around freely because you know they're not going to push you, and now you just kind of have to stalk them to wait. And that was just a good play by them.
SMSU needs to carry that momentum. They did pick up an op from Wilmington that game, or that round.
Gets pinged, and now the ult from the Sova's out. But he's not going to
committing 2 ults to A. Phoenix and a Sova. Pick up one, but they get traded back. Wilmington is being very patient, only rotating over that raise.
Yeah, This is just a
Lore
matter of patience now for them.
Sage is going to come out onto the bathrooms, has the op, is going to try and watch that mid-A angle from heaven, but doesn't challenge it too much.
Arrow comes out. You know UNCW now has some information that Sova might be lurking in bathroom still.
Jaffro makes the...
Ooh.
Get some info for SMSU. SMSU still hanging around on this A site, but they're mind gaming Wilmington here. They got Sage to rotate off, but now Sage and Raze for Wilmington are going to rotate back over to A. Phoenix for Wilmington is going to be very cautious here. He's just going to wait back, wait for his teammates, and now it's a full rotate.
Oh, okay. Able to kind of stop just a flash, but
Jaffro
again, the op, he goes for the peek.
Really aggressive peek there. Doesn't need to. Needs to back off and play with his teammates.
Yeah, especially because they planted, they kind of had control of the point. They could have just waited in their spots and set up angles, and they probably would have gotten a kill off.
Waffle is just looking at the ground as he gets peeked by that. Phoenix by Wilmington gets easily picked up. Just has his crosshair hanging in the
and Dark
box.
Crystal's able to get the defuse, and it's a 1-1 situation here.
Piece of bread. Needs to move on that Sage.
Oh, he was so
Sage
close!
Sticks it and gets the defuse, getting Wilmington their 7th round win.
Yeah, he was just unable to get the shot. A one headshot would have done it, but he was just unable to get that shot. Might have been just pressure or nerves because it was getting kind of close. I'm surprised he was able to stick to it, but I mean, with that much confidence, you might as well try and go for the stick.
However, he definitely could have used that op and just shot through the box.
Yeah, he had a lot of opportunities to do something other than the way that he did it, but he was also short for time. Thought might as well go for the push. Maybe he'll tap off of bomb to go for the kill, but he was dead set on defusing that bomb, and I think that's what kind of deterred him from getting that.
Boombot comes out there early. Wilmington is going to get that info that SMSU has one player there, but they don't know that the op is there. SMSU being a lot slower at playing at this time. Seeing a B push from them, very careful, but there's not that quick rotate over from... Oh, and SMSU gets picked.
Oh, and Waffle was unable to pick it up off of the Raze. Had the satchel out and was able to escape, and you can see right there, a piece of bread also falling to Peaches from there. No. And they had Raze settled in garden. Like, they knew he was there. He tried to even retreat, and they lit him up, but it just wasn't enough to convert a kill off of that. And that's going to hit them pretty hard with that flawless as well.
Yeah, you know, if you're SMSU here, you have to... This is a mental game at this point. If you want any chance to come back in this game, you have to try and keep your mentality strong. You have to not tilt, but I think that's really hard to do if, you know, typically you're attacking as your better rounds, and, you know, going on to defense where they started on defense last week on Bind, and they got absolutely ran over.
Yeah.
It's got to be really hard for them to try and keep their mentality good.
Yeah, we take a look at some of the map history of SMSU and that their best wins and losses have come from.
Oh, and an early pick coming out by Peaches with that op. And SMSU is just going to try and... Can't peek that op. I mean, they do get a little bit of damage onto her by wallbang here, but SMSU is down one man. And
and again, the op there from the Raze. There's the peek on the headshot. Wookie goes over, gets another kill for his team, and he's the last man standing. Gets flashed. And he just could not get that gunfight as he gets beat by the Omen there. Now it is a 9-1. Now they have 3 more rounds here to...
2 more rounds.
2 more? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This is round 11, not... I thought it was round 10, so... And as, you know, Gromagrar is correcting me, they now have 2 rounds to kind of convert something. They need to at least get something going to go into their defense. Because on defense, they'll do a lot better. You know, you have Killjoy and you have Cypher to kind of hold down those sites a little bit more. But having some momentum would be really nice right now for them.
Yeah, if you don't have any momentum going into this second half on defense, even if you have that Cypher and Killjoy and can play around that utility, if you're too tilted, you might not play smart enough.
Flash goes out, and Jaffro.
Flash comes out from Phoenix. Does get traded back here. Is an even split on man advantage here. Wilmington is going to rotate over early. SMSU just needs to rotate off of this site. They've played this waiting game with Wilmington too many times, and Wilmington has backed off, but Wilmington does have that all that Cypher utility on B, so if SMSU pushes in there, they're gonna know.
Yeah, they have to be cautious about it because they know where most of the time Cypher's traps would probably be at. You know, you have one in hookah, you have one in long. That's usually the standard case for this. But there it is. There's one in
Tripwire gets
hookah.
activated, and that signals
Immediate.
the
Almost.
immediate rotation over.
And there's the other one being tripped by Piece of Bread. So now they know for sure this is hard push, and they're coming in.
But Wilmington, Sage, and Phoenix aren't there. And Piece of Bread gets a 2K, and the other one is picked up by Wookie.
And the ult being shot out again, and he's going to light him up a little bit so they know for a
Killjoy
fact.
ult comes out. SMSU pulling out all the stops to try and get this site. Is posted up a little too aggressively here. Need to force Wilmington to push in their man advantage. Giving them 1v1s like that is not what they need to do. Aggression is not necessarily the name of the game in a post-plant situation. You need to play off your teammates. Wookie does manage to pick up one, but now it's a 1v1 situation. Has the op on Sage, and he's just gonna look.
I mean, as long as
Pulls
you
out
hold
the
bomb,
sheriff.
yeah, as long as you hold the time on the bomb, you don't even need to peek that. You just have to kind of keep them guessing, and then when you know for a fact you have enough time to get out of there, get out of there. And that's what Dark Crystal kind of did.
SMSU does pick up a round win there, but it was not the cleanest round win. Not nearly as clean as it could have been. You know, Wilmington gave them some space there, didn't rotate over their Sage or their Cypher early enough. Or not their Cypher, but their Phoenix. And SMSU was able to manage to take out those 3 members. And it was a 4v2 situation, and ended up being a 1v1 situation. If you're up 4 men to 2, you cannot lose that man advantage. At the very least, you need to be trading those kills.
Yeah, they should have done a lot of that post-plant setups, angles, and just wait them out. You could see that a lot of them were technically still all just kind of watching CT. They knew they were there, but they could have played a little more back and just kind of waited for them to either go for defuse or have someone at least watching it. But because of that, they got hit pretty hard, and luckily Dark Crystal was able to clutch it for them.
You know, it's lucky for SMSU that was the second to last round of the half.
Yeah.
Because had that been an earlier round, or an early round in the next half, and they'd lost a 4v2 like that, it would have done a massive amount of damage to all their economy. But you know, SMSU hasn't exactly had the strongest economy this game.
Wookie manages to get the kill. It's now going to be a 4v3.
Correction, 3v3. Needs to get bomb down. They have a fair amount of site control. They have Hookah sort of locked down with Wookiees. They're looking, waiting for Wilmington to push through. Bomb plant is going to go down.
Ooh,
Wilmington
he gets the headshot.
Being very patient here. That Sage not pushing up, waiting for her teammate, her Omen, to be there to pinch with her.
But the Cypher ult's definitely going to help them out with information. Now they know where they're going to be. Jaffro gets the headshot on the Sage.
Don't need to push him.
Yeah, it wasn't a need to push that, and they give up a 1v1 situation now.
Now Omen. Omen versus Omen. Both of them. SMSU's Omen has a little less
and
health.
he's going over.
Oh,
yeah, that's going to do it.
Omen pushes up onto the box and just takes out SMSU's Omen.
Yeah.
SMSU should have won that round. You
They
cannot lose rounds like that.
Yeah, the biggest mistake there was that the Cypher ult was out. You know where they're going to be. Now you know they're where they are. There's no point in pushing them. Just because you know where they are doesn't mean they are immediately at any kind of disadvantage. You just know where they are.
Another man advantage situation for SMSU, and they just throw it away.
Yeah.
You can't be in a post plant situation, especially like that. You can't be pushing on the enemy defenders. They have to push into you. You have man advantage. Set up a crossfire, force them to push into you.
Yeah.
And trade out at the very least.
Yeah.
Don't give them those 1v1s. If you're giving them 1v1s, that's how they make that man advantage up.
Yeah, that cost them a big win to go into this. But now they're on defense. They're going to see what they can do now. You know, you have the Cypher, you have Killjoy, so you know for a fact that one's going to be on one side, the other one's going to be on the other, holding it down with turrets and traps.
Yep, they're going to be splitting that Cypher and Killjoy utility on B and A respectively.
Yeah, and they pushed in hard into Hookah. Wookie had no chance of getting anything in that
SMSU does have that info. Piece of bread here, you almost just need to shoot through that smoke. You know where they are.
Yeah, now the flash.
Gets flashed by the Omen. Is trying. You can't be peeking out of that smoke into multiple members of Wilmington. Now SMSU has 3 members left, but no. Their
Yeah.
killjoy gets picked up.
Jeffro
Jeffro
gets the
does
headshot.
manage to get a headshot.
Oh, the
Has a
Owen just
really
crosses to
greedy
him.
buy early on with the sheriff. Not the worst buy if you're trying to maintain some momentum, but Waffle has 1 HP here and
Yeah.
gets easily taken out by that Sage.
Yeah, he was getting
Actually
shot
gets
behind.
wallbanged through the wall a little bit too by that Sage.
Completely confused. I think he might. That was just perfect pinching there. They were able to shoot through the wall, get some damage on him, and he just had to either go for one or go for the other. And that immediately fell apart. You could see that once Wookiee got killed in Hookah, and they just pushed in hard. You had someone down long a couple times, and all in all, it was just not great defense there from SMSU. Is now at this point, you know, UNCW is coming in with the utmost confidence that they might even try to go for that same play again. I mean, it has worked. Why not go for it again?
Wookie is gonna try and flash out, but Boombot's gonna be there. They're gonna know he's there, and there's 5 members of
Ooh,
Wilmington,
in the
and they
bot.
push through and just easily take him out. Now Wilmington has the instant man advantage. Oh, if you're a piece of bread here, you know they're there. You just need to shoot. Try and get a lucky headshot. Has the sheriff, but
He
manages
does
to pick
get a
up
kill.
one. But now Wilmington, 4v3 situation.
Dark Crystal gets put down. Oh, and so does Waffle, coming out with a judge.
With that, this is all. This is gonna be sealing the game here for Wilmington. SSU would have to pull out a miracle to win, and as we can see from how they've been playing this match against Wilmington, that
Yeah.
does not look like it's going to happen. Wilmington is just more coordinated, and
And actually, what do you think would be the biggest problem that SMSU's kind of faced in this game so far? I've seen a couple of things, but I think for me the biggest problem might just be winning those gunfights and also going for some, I would say maybe questionable plays. You saw in Hookah with the flash, and then he backed off, then he walled, tried to run across, got hit with the boom bot. He was kind of flustered almost, kind of confused on where to
yeah,
go.
I think these later plays are. I think SMSU may be tilting a little bit too much to even analyze too much of some of these later plays. You know, Wilmington has all this advantage. They know that they can force through hookah like that with all of their members. You wouldn't normally see that. Um, but I think for SMSU, the biggest difference between them and Wilmington, beyond gunfights, because
Yeah.
SMSU hasn't been winning a lot of their gunfights, is
Mm.
their positioning and decision making.
Yeah.
SMSU has had multiple man advantages, and they just throw them away. They don't play off of they don't play off of each other. They don't set up crossfires. They don't um, have one member initiate and then another member swing off of that initiator's contact.
Yeah.
You know, SMSU has a lot of utility on their team. They only have one duelist with the Phoenix, but I don't think the team comp is the problem here. I think the problem is they're just not playing enough as a team. They're not being decisive.
Mm.
We saw earlier in the game when they forced Wilmington to they mind gamed Wilmington and got them to rotate off all but their Phoenix from A. Um, they could have had their 2 members over on B long go through the teleporter and then 5-manned onto site. And even if there's 2 members left on site and you don't know for Wilmington and you don't know where they are, you have 5 men. You can trade out, and then you have, if there's 2 members left and you trade out evenly, you have 3 members on site, but you have full site control.
Yeah, and as we just saw right there, SMSU getting beat there by UNCW, unable to secure a solid victory, but they do go 13 and 2, better than last week's 13 and 1. This is going to be something that they're going to have to take with a grain of salt. I mean, they probably know where they went wrong, but it's still just a matter of let's talk about it, let's sit down, let's really get into where we went wrong and what we have to do better next game. That's really all you can do in a game like this.
Yeah, I think if you look at the score lines, it could be a little deceptive um, if you're SMSU, because you have multiple teammates that, or you have 2 teammates that really underperformed. Waffle with the 2 and 14, Dark Crystal with the 6 and 12. But you know, Wilmington scoreline isn't that amazing either. Besides their Phoenix, who
Yeah,
had a major game with 27 and 8, and Peaches, who was 15 and 9. Um, you know, their Omen and their Cypher are at the bottom of the scoreline with SMSU, but Those are two characters that you need for the utility, and you don't need them to frag out.
Exactly.
You just need them to do their jobs.
As long as they do their job and they do the smokes, they put down the traps, they do the camera, then that's all you really need from them. Of course, once Cypher dies, it becomes less and less useful, but
hmm
it's just something that you have to kind of consider.
I think another thing we saw from SMSU is we saw a lot of the time Jaffro, their Omen, was doing a lot of the initiating and initial entry fragging. You can't really have your Omen doing that because if your Omen loses that peak battle and you lose your smokes early on, you're honestly kind of screwed.
Yeah, and
You
I mean,
can't block off sight lines, you can't isolate angles, you can't take site control efficiently without those smokes from him.
yeah,
I also would have liked to see some more initial smokes from SMSU's Omen, just an initial one smoke at the beginning of the round to
yeah,
isolate off an angle and to dissuade um, Wilmington from getting that information about what's going on.
yeah. A lot of problems kind of came up in this game. Let's see if SMSU can learn from these mistakes, go into the next game better, brighter, and ready to go for this one. But we end this off with a 13 and 2. UNCW gets the victory, and we will have to wrap it up here. But we will have Madden tonight later at 9:30. Do not miss that. But for Valorant, this has been Afro here with Craw McGraw, and we'll see you guys in the next one.